Hi, this is Nam and Cathy, and welcome to another episode of CY Zang.
Welcome everyone. That intro, that hot pot intro makes me crave hot pot again.
So, that is a Chinese dish inspired by Mongolians. And basically, you take a bunch of spices together and you boil meat and veggies.
Yeah, it's kind of like Chinese version of Korean barbecue, if you know what that is.
Barbecue, barbecue soup.
I mean, you cook everything yourself, so it's not really a dish. It's like you throw everything in a pot.
It's more like a Chinese version of fondue or shabu shabu, right?
Yeah, shabu shabu is a better one, except we throw more crap in it.
And fondue, you don't like guzzle down
Cheese or
the fondue
chocolate.
cheese after.
Yeah,
It's more of a soup, but
but you don't like this type of cooking or eating because you tend to overeat.
yeah, I overeat and I get food coma. But that was really fun to eat because it was a really cold day and we had some of Kathy's BFFs over, so we were able to enjoy.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about hot pot. Sorry for the distraction.
So, what are you painting today?
In this video, I am painting H is for hare,
And
which is a rabbit, basically a wild rabbit.
yeah, and how many of these wild rabbits did you end up painting?
I ended up painting three of them
Why? Por qué?
because I got perfectionistic and I wasn't happy with the first one. I think the one in the video here is the first one I painted. Now that I'm looking back, I actually like it. I've been staring at it for a while, just having it on the side of my table. I think overall, I like how it turned out. Maybe throughout the painting process, I got caught up in certain details or techniques that wasn't executed the way I wanted. And I kept going with the second draft and the third draft, but obviously, I like the third one more, but I actually like this one.
But you ended up using all three of the bunnies, right?
I, what do you mean by use?
For like other products.
Yeah, I ended up using this guy. So it turned out to be a guy. And the third one I did was a lady. And I mocked up a greeting card, a Valentine's Day greeting card with the bunny as a couple. It didn't really sell, but it was fun to kind of find an alternative use for them.
What did the Valentine's Day card say?
It has expletive in it, so I don't know if that's allowed on this video in case there are people watching with their kids.
It said F Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And why F Valentine's Day?
I don't know. You tell me.
Because you're my everyday bae. That's what it said. That's what it said on the inside.
Yeah, basically, I have a very apathetic feeling towards Valentine's Day.
It's a corporate created holiday.
Well, it was first romanticized by Shakespeare and some other writers. And over time, it became commercialized by Hallmark and, the companies that benefit from this financially. But it's also a good opportunity to, I guess, treat your loved one out. But I don't think you need to go on a day where everyone else is fighting to get dinner reservations and paying for overpriced flowers and chocolate, but that's just me.
So you're upset that it's a commercialized holiday, but now you make commercial art.
I'm not upset. I just don't really I don't really connect with what's behind it because I think you can treat your significant other well
So,
some other days.
so I know you ended up making three different versions of this hair.
Yeah.
How did you evolve from this one to the next one to the third one in terms of colors and technique?
Well, I think I became more adventurous with color. Even though here you can see that I use a lot of blue and purple, which is could be considered pretty adventurous for a bunny. But if you look at the third one, which I post on my Instagram, it has a lot more reds and purples. Purple is something that a color that I don't use often, but in this case, it's a magenta purple, and it worked well. So color is one that I've gotten more experimental with each version. The other one would be, I think, with some of the more recent letters in the alphabet series, I just try to train myself to be more loose. And I know a lot of artists do warm-ups before they start working on a real, quote-unquote, real piece. But I tend to just sit down and work on the piece as if basically I don't go through warm-up very often or as often as I should. And I tend to conceptualize a lot of it, including the technique and the style in my head. So once I sit down and I'm holding brush in my hand, I'm pretty much ready to create that piece. And again, I don't know if it's because I wasn't trained as an artist or that I didn't go to art school or that I had a really analytical background. It probably has something to do with that, but sometimes I just find warm-ups kind of aimless.
No practice. Every painting is a game day.
Pretty much, yeah. And I feel like I'm wasting a lot of paper just doodling. But
don't worry about that. Paper grows on trees.
I know you're joking. Oh, so I just want to point out here I have I propped the paper upright so that I could let the water let the paint kind of flow down. And that's a technique that I tend to use to make the painting seem more lively and fluid. So you can see that the brown's kind of flowing down the bunny's arm. I don't really think about like where the shadow or where the light should hit on its body. I treat it like, I think I mentioned in a previous video too, like I treat it like a bunch of different abstract shapes coming together to form this more recognizable subject, which is a bunny in this case.
Is that a technique you figured out on your own?
Yeah, it's something that I connect with more. I don't like outlines, and I know you don't like them either. The color and wherever the water ends is sort of defining the outline of the bunny. So here I'm filling out the eyelashes, adding the eyelashes. Oh, and another thing I did differently here is I painted the eyes first, and that's something that we talked about in one of the first videos on this YouTube channel.
I don't remember.
Okay, I will remind you again.
I'm just kidding.
I tend to paint eyes at the end because I like to get a feel of the rest of the painting first before I decide how abstract or defined I want the eyes to be. So in this case, I made the eyes really defined or somewhat realistic, and it didn't turn out really well. From where I can see, the eyes look a little bit bloodshot, don't you think?
Yeah, but the Hare must have had a heavy night of drinking.
Probably. Or maybe I did.
That's the only way that he could get through Valentine's Day.
I think I wanted the eyes to look realistic. I was looking at a photo of a hare that had brown eyes, but I think that brown just didn't work very well with rest of the hair that was more abstract and whimsical.
Did you do a light sketch for this one?
I did a super light sketch. I think I marked where the ear started and ended, a very light silhouette of the face, the cheek area, and where the butt or the thigh, the leg area is supposed to start, and maybe a couple of markings on where the arms are, but not arms. What are they called? Legs? Legs in the front?
Front's limbs.
See, you don't even know.
No, I don't. It's a Google question, Google answer away though.
Yeah,
so.
I would think that by now I'm very well versed in animals since I'm sharing a lot of interesting facts about them. But obviously, I can't even properly name their limbs.
It's okay.
Still got a long way to go.
We can just fake our way through it. Fake our way as being animal experts.
Yeah.
But so how frustrated are you when you don't get the painting right on the very first try?
I it's come to a point where I never expect the first painting to be right. So I guess in that sense, my first painting is my warm up. Um, but if by the second I don't get it, if I think the second piece is not better than the first, that's when I start getting frustrated. Because I do spend at least, an hour to 2 hours on each piece, and I don't have 6 hours in the day to paint the same thing 3 times. So it's kind of, I put pressure on myself after the first try to at least do 20% better.
I know that you get frustrated when you don't get it on the first try, but usually when you have to put in a second or third repetition, I feel like you're building muscle memory and putting in 10,000 hours.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one disclaimer with the 10,000 hour practice is it has to be deliberate, right? Like I paint circles for 10,000 hours and I'll be a really professional circle painter. And I mean, there are abstract painters out there that paint circles in their very artistic way, so I'm not knocking them or anything.
No, you don't have to apologize for them. Screw them.
No, that's not. Cut that out. Seriously, cut that out. But I'm just saying, with each additional hours I'm putting in, it has to be just uncomfortable enough that I feel like I'm learning something from it. I'm building muscle memory, but I'm also building confidence, right? So by the third bunny, I can know my pencil sketches are probably getting less and less. My pencil sketches are getting even more rough or even non-existent. Maybe by the third one, I don't even need to look at a photo reference anymore. I just look at my old version and mark where I need to improve, and I can sort of start to kind of create silhouette with my paintbrush rather than using the pencil. So I think that's what happened here on the third one.
What happens after you're done with a painting? How do you unwind, or how do you look back at the painting and analyze it?
I have a visceral reaction towards it. Actually, about 3/4 of the way through painting, I sort of have an idea. I have a pretty good sense whether I'm gonna like it, really like it, or hate it. There's no fourth option. Like, it's always one of these three emotions. And if I really like it, by 3/4 of the way through, I do a better job of knowing when to stop. If it's something that I like but don't love, then I tend to try harder to try to make it better, and sometimes I'll overdo it. I'll overwork the piece, or I'll stop prematurely, or I'll step away, look at it from a distance, and come back later and see if I need to add some more details or try to correct it. But if it's something that I don't like, there are pieces where I'm halfway through and I know it's not going the right direction, and I'll just stop and start over. Again, that's just my approach. I'm sure there are other artists who would disagree and think that I should push through, but it's my process and I'm still working through it at my own speed.
So if you're not into the painting, then you just stop?
There are cases that I did stop halfway, especially for the bigger pieces, because if I'm doing, let's say, a 12x16 and it takes me up to 3 hours to do, why should I spend another 1 to 2 hours finishing it if I know that it's incorrigible at this point?
I guess I'm lucky you didn't do that for our relationship.
Oh, God. Yeah, I guess that makes you corrigible.
Okay, so yeah, I guess you're putting on the finishing touches here.
We should include a link of the third bunny, just so people know what we're talking about. So we keep saying third bunny, or third hare, but it helps to...
Is it posted as a print?
Yes, it is on my website.
Okay.
It's posted on my website as a print.
Okay. The third bunny will be posted in the show notes on the YouTube caption, so you can look at that and compare it to the first iteration of the hare, so you can see kind of the evolution of it. And for additional pictures, I think Cathy put it on her Instagram account.
Yes.
So you can, I'll put that link in the show notes as well. But that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you very soon. Feel free to leave some feedback and subscribe, and thank you for all your support.
Thank you.